Well, I don't know if you remember a few weeks ago I made this out of this mold, but I had to destroy the mold to be able to get the piece out. And now I want to make a silicone mold of this piece. Now this is for my own use. I'm not going to be selling the silicone mold. What I've got here is a sheet of acetate that I've cut so it's just slightly larger than the actual piece that I want to cast. And now I'm going to take off that top sheet there. I've also cut sides to it and ends to it as well, which will go on it. All I'll use for that is some sticky tape to stick them on with. And to attach those two, what I will do is put them together like that and then pop a little bit of joining tape there. Do the same with the other side. Like that. And obviously, again, the same with the other end. Massive thank you to everyone that got me a coffee last month. I really do appreciate it. Your names are coming up now. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, just to say thank you for any of my videos and help support me and this channel, then the link to that is in the description below. It really is very much appreciated. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. These are only my temporary bits at the moment. Then I can turn this over and they're all connected. And now put some corners in. So pull a bit of tape, join those up like that, and put a corner in. And that gives me my box, and there we go. That fits in there really well. I need to make this much more secure than all that. And this is where I come in with me big packing tape. And what I'll do is I will go around each one of these corners with this packing tape, folding that on itself like that and making sure that is sealed right to the top. Once I've done all four corners like this, I'll do the same all the way around the edges so there's nothing else where the silicone can leak. Now when I cast this, I want it to have a glossy finish to it, and at the moment obviously the resin-crete is a matte finish and the actual resin itself has got fairly nice kind of glossy finish to it, and I quite like that semi-gloss finish. I do want this resin-crete to be a little bit more glossy, so all I'm doing is going over this, firstly sealing it with this acrylic varnish, but also this will give it a gloss finish as well. It will need about 2 coats, I would think, of this to give it a nice finish. Now I want to avoid getting too many brush strokes in it as well. Hopefully I'll be able to smooth all this off. Now for some reason I got some stain, a little bit of stain in this gloss varnish, but it's no problem. It's ideal for using for things like this. And with the easy to use silicone moulding products that are available now on the market, and I will link a really good one in the description below, making your own mould is such a simple process and can be really, really enjoyable and good fun. I'll let that dry now for an hour and then I'll see if it needs another coat. If it needs another coat, then I'll give it another coat. If it needs a third coat, then I'll give it a third coat. Well, I'm almost ready to cast this now in silicone. I've got this positioned in the middle. I'm not going to stick this down. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but it's heavy enough not to move around. I've also put some ridge in these sides as well, because why waste all that silicone if you don't need to? Make sure you leave enough gap all the way around the edge because you want a rim there, and then just fill it up. Before I pour my silicone in there, what I'm going to do is give it a quick spray with some mould release. You don't need to do too much. Then what I do is I check it's still in the right position, which it is, and then I pour my silicone over the top. And I pour it over slowly like this until it's completely covered this mould. And because this is a slow curing in silicone, this will actually release bubbles and give me a great finish at the end. I'm now going to leave this until it's fully cured, and you'll know when it's fully cured because you'll be able to touch it. Well, my mould should be fully cured now. It's been 24 hours and this is a slow cure one. It's really easy to be able to get this mould out. All I do is I split down my mould box where my sellotape is, and then I pull my mould sides down so that I can get to my mould. And the great thing is I can use these sides and all this box again for a different mould, and then all I do is reconstruct it again. Be gentle with it because the last thing you want to do is break any of it. And then it should pull off the base like that. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to trim this mould up. So if there was any overpour or anything like that, just makes it tidy. And the other thing is I'm going to do is trim up where it's gone underneath. And I just use a sharp blade and pull this thin silicone away. I've got several videos on making moulds and different methods of making moulds. I will link one at the end of this video for you to watch, because it isn't as hard as you would think. In fact, it is quite easy to make basic moulds like this. And now this should just come out of here really easily because we coated it with mold release and it was shiny as well. And look at that, that has created a perfect mold of this now. So I'm not worried that I broke the other mold. As I'm never going to sell this mold, I'm not ripping off someone else's mold at all. All I'm going to do is cast in there in resin or resincrete in the same way as I would have done if I was still using their mold. So I've got my resincrete mixed up. And how I'm going to do it this time is pour it in there like that. So it's got a front of the face is going to be resincrete. Give that a little bit of tap in case there's any air trapped anywhere. And a bit of jiggly wiggly. Pop any bubbles that have come through to the top. And now leave that to cure before I do the next bit. I've got my resincrete mixed up now for its final layer, and I want this to be yellow. So I'm using some of the yellow pigment that you can get for resincrete. And because resincrete is very, very white, it does give quite a pastel-y finish to the actual colour. And I quite like that. I think it looks nice. We've got that all mixed up now. And some of that might run down the sides of this mould because I've moved it around so many times. And if it does, I really don't mind. Now I'm just going to fill this mould up with this resincrete. I'll probably leave that for about half an hour before I demold it and show you it. This is at 30 minutes now, so it should be completely cured and easy to get out. And it is. Oh, it didn't leak under there too much. Just a little tiny bit. I like that. I like the way the different colour frames the face. So when you have it going up that way, it's smiley. And when you have it going that way, it's really grumpy. And since making that one, I've made this one as well, which is almost like a gothic-y kind of horror-y one, but with pretty colours. I hope you've enjoyed this video and seeing how I make my moulds. It is really useful, can save you money, and certainly you can get some great moulds that no one else has got by making your own moulds. It's really much simpler than you would have thought it is. If you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to see this video do well, then boop that like button, as it really helps the video to get out there. Hit the subscribe button and be sure to check out the video above where I make this one, and I'll show you how to get the two separate bits so you've got the resin in the middle. Take care, enjoy your resin. Bye.